guys, I'm Algems and welcome back to the channel for another Reddit video. Today we are back reading some posts from everybody's favourite subreddit, Am I the A-hole? So I did a previous video where we were reading stories from that subreddit and they were actually fairly tame considering the standards of Am I the A-hole. So if you do want to check that out, feel free to. But of course, let's have you watch this video first, and as I said last time when we were on Am I the A-hole, it was fairly tame. Now, if you guys know anything about that subreddit, that is a very uncommon occurrence, so we're probably not going to get that lucky today. So I'd recommend that you guys strap in because we're about to meet some of the most unreasonable people, more than likely. But before our TikTok had all the tension spans run out of any and all focus, let's just get into the first post. Our first post of the episode today was posted by Rhubarb Square 1053 and it's titled, Am I the A-hole for recording my friend's fiancé at her bachelorette party and playing the recording for him? I was invited to the bachelorette party for my friend's fiancé. It was over the long weekend at a vacation rental on the beach. There was booze, a hot tub, great food. It was definitely a hit. At one point I was on the deck looking at the ocean and the bride was drunk in the hot tub with two friends of hers. She said she felt more relaxed than she had in a while. I assumed she was referring to the wedding planning. One of her friends asked if she'd been having trouble with the little monster. She said no, and that he was manageable for now. At that point I realised they were talking about my friend's son. I took out my phone and started recording them. The bride's friend said horrible stuff about my friend's son and the bride responded positively to everything, laughing and agreeing. Then she said it was too bad he wasn't old enough to send to military school. I stopped recording when their topic changed. I don't think they ever realised that I was close enough to hear them. When we got back, I asked to meet with my friend and I played him the recording. He was quiet while he listened. After the recording was finished, he asked me to send it to him, which I did. Then he asked me to delete it, which I said I would, but I haven't yet. I feel like an a-hole for interfering, I really do. However, I'm worried for my friend's son. Depending on what my friend does, I might need to send this recording to the poor boy's family. I feel like I've overstepped, but what else can I do? Was I being an a-hole? Okay, well, a couple of things. OP didn't mention, the son's age in this post. Not that it really matters, because I feel like that fiancé is wrong no matter what. But if this was, a young boy, it would just make it so much more horrific. But I do think that the son's maybe, a teenager, a youngish teenager, I'm assuming. From the fact, she mentioned military school and stuff like that. Also, OP says they're worried that they've overstepped and that, but I'm guessing if you've known your friend for a while, you've probably also known his son for a while, and when you're close with someone, their family is kind of your family at the same time, the whole it takes a village, so you're probably quite close to this poor boy, and you're clearly quite fond of this kid, and you feel bad for him, and that's why the moment that you heard someone talking badly about him, you were like, no, I need to, get proof of this so I can do something about it. And I don't think that you've overstepped for doing that. Overstepping would be if you went straight to your friend and was like, you need to leave this woman, you need to do this. But you just sort of gathered proof of what she'd done, and you showed it to him, and now you're letting him make his own choice. And also, I'm trying to put myself in the position of a parent. If I was about to marry someone, and, my friend came to me and was like, oh, this is what this person said about your child, I don't think I could go through with that marriage, because, your kid should come first as a parent in it, and I don't know how, I personally could be with someone who's so horrible that they're going to make fun of my child and speak like that. And also, if my friend knew that they'd said that and they didn't tell me, I'd be quite upset with them for that. I'd want them to tell me and warn me in advance that the person I'm about to marry has this horrible, opinion about my child. So, I don't think OP's really in the wrong for telling their friend. And the top comment on this post says, I get why you feel conflicted, but protecting that little boy matters more than some social boundary. If someone was trashing my kid like that, I'd sure want to know too. And, that's kind of the point that I've just made about, as a friend, you should be warning your friend that someone's talking about their kid like that. I just personally feel like that's the morally correct thing to do in that situation. Hey, heads up. I know, I've kind of been a bit strange, maybe, recording this person, but listen to what they have to say about your child that you're supposed to care about. And another commenter replies to that comment and they say that's a huge red flag, especially when marriage and potentially a future co-parenting role is on the line. No, I think that commenter is absolutely spot on. If this woman hates OP's friend's child so much, that's potentially like risky for her to have a co-parenting role in that little boy's life. I'm saying little boy, we don't know the kid's age, but in general, she should not be allowed a co-parenting role with a kid that she clearly hates. Another commenter says, having a recording is irrefutable compared to hearsay if you simply told them, hey, this is what your soon-to-be wife was saying about your kid. Ultimately, she will become the child's stepmom, so he as a father needs to know what he's getting himself into, and hopefully he can manage the situation so it resolves for the child, who's most important. I think, I don't know, the laws around recording someone without their consent in OP's, area, but regardless, I think you do need proof, because the likeliness that he'd be like, oh, okay, well, let me talk to my fiance, and she's like, well, I never said that, and then it's literally like a he said, she said type of situation, because with no proof, you can't actually confirm that she said that, but now he's heard it for himself, and he can make a decision based off of that. Okay, I did scroll for a while, hoping to find an update on this post, but as of yet, there is none, but I'm gonna rate OP not the a-hole. All charges are revoked. Moving on from that post, we've got another one by Skissy Scoons, and I must say, before we get into it, this is beautifully written. I mean, wow, the paragraphs, mwah, chef's kiss, would be very easy to read, thank you. But this one is titled, Am I the a-hole for saying that my mom's cheating did make her a worse parent? Last year, my dad found out that my mom was cheating on him and they broke up. My mom moved in with her AP Ron, and she tried to carry on like nothing happened with me, 16F, and my brother 13M. She was expecting nothing to have changed, but I didn't want to see her. I told Dad, who told his lawyer, who told the judge, and the judge ordered therapy for me and my mom together to work it out. And right now, once a week is the only time I see my mom. My brother has to go to my mom's house every other weekend despite not wanting to. Mom has told me this is because he sees my reaction and copies me, and if I were to stop acting like she did anything bad to me and fixed our relationship, she'd have both her kids willingly in her life now. In the almost year since we started therapy, we have gone to see 3 different therapists assigned by the same judge. The most recent one we just started having appointments with a month ago, and it was suggested that I engage just a little bit in therapy at some point to help get my point across directly to my mom. I decided to do this after we switched. The new therapist didn't ask dumb questions like the others about why I'm mad at my mom or why I don't want to forgive her. Instead, the therapist let mom do her talking, which was all about how unfair this is, how she was always a great mom to me and my brother, and how we should not be treating her differently because of how her marriage ended. She never failed in her duty as a parent to the 2 of us, and her heart is broken by the fact that she can be so easily discarded, and how unfair she finds it that we won't give her AP a chance. Then the therapist asked me if I had anything to say to the things that my mom had said, and I told her I did. For the first time I said exactly how I felt, and I told my mom directly. I said yes, mom cheated on my dad and their relationship is their relationship, but I pointed out how the cheating creates a broken home, one that is full of pain and anger and does damage that can't be brushed away. I pointed out that mom didn't think about me and my brother when she chose to betray dad and hurt him, or the impact it would have on us to go from my parents together to mom being with someone else immediately. I said people talk about how kids need time after divorce or death to adjust to the transition, and cheating takes away from that, because typically the people who had the affair move in together immediately, and I said that happened here. I said I went from having a normal, happy family to finding out it was not as happy as I expected because clearly mom wasn't happy, to then being told that my parents were divorcing and realising that my mom had hurt dad, and that mom had expected me to live with her and the person she destroyed our family to be with. I told my mom I don't see her the same way anymore. She's not someone to admire because she's not honest. She doesn't care about hurting the man who gave her 2 kids or hurting her 2 kids. I told her I would never want to be like her now, and that's hurtful to realise. I said she can talk all she wants about how she did nothing to us, and the more she goes on about it just angers me more because she did. She caused so much upheaval in our lives and expects us to just go with it. I told her the fact that she expects me to be nice to Ron is insanity, and that I feel like she was selfish for refusing to see why me and my brother would feel that way. I said she even wants to blame me for my brother's feelings instead of herself. I said, so that mum saying that this never changed her parenting is wrong. I said it made her a worse parent because of everything I said, and I told my mum and the therapist that my view is pretty effing set and I'm not open to seeing if it can change. I took up the rest of our appointment so mum didn't get to address it, but she looked mad. Am I the a-hole? Okay, wow, that was really heavy. Okay, I should probably address a few things about this, I suppose. Firstly, I agree with OP. I think if you're in a relationship and you've got kids, cheating on your partner inherently makes you a bad parent because you're doing something that not only affects you but you're affecting your kids. You're literally putting like sexual desires before your children, and that makes you a bad parent. And I know that's probably like kind of controversial to say, but I think if you can do something, sneak around behind your partner's back and behave so selfishly knowing you've got children who depend on you and they depend on this stable lifestyle, you're a bad parent. And of course, like, I feel like I'm not saying you can't divorce someone, because at the end of the day people fall out of love, but I think a divorce is something, it's still fairly traumatic for a kid, yes, but I feel like it causes in general a lot less pain and a lot less anger than cheating does. And like, if your household breaks up but it's an amicable divorce and you get, you know, civil parents and you can see them both equally, it's a lot less traumatic than having one parent do something so disgusting to the other one. And what OP said, like how it changed the way that she views her mom, how she views her mom as not a role model, she's not honest, it does affect children so much, because now this parent that you've loved, you've realised, oh, like, you kind of suck, you're not a good person. And if OP's asking if they're in the wrong for addressing that and talking about how they feel, no, they're not, because they didn't lie. They were told to explain how they feel, and they did. And it's not like they've lied just to be horrible to their mother. They've honestly come out and they've been like, you've hurt me and I don't see you the same way anymore, and you ruined my life. And I feel really bad for OP because they clearly have been holding on to this for a while. And as the top commenter on this post says, nope, you're not the a-hole, you are honest about how our actions affected you, and that's what therapy is for. She can't expect everything to be normal after breaking your trust like that. You didn't attack her, you spoke your truth. That's not mean, that's real. And yeah, I mean, I kind of brushed over that, but like, yeah, you're in therapy. If there's ever a time and a place to say something like that, it's in therapy. And you asked how you felt, you explained it because you were in that type of environment, and your mother doesn't get to sit there and play the victim because she's hurt you. And OP responds to that comment and they say, a lot of people think they can hurt people and have it change nothing. I don't like that thinking, but it's so common. I used to have a friend like that too. She'd be awful to her friends and expect us to stay her friends no matter what. And ain't that just the truth? I swear some people, they just do what they want. They don't think about consequences or the impact of their actions, and then they pull that like shocked Pikachu face when people are upset with them. Another commenter says, exactly, not the a-hole in the slightest. What really rubs me the wrong way is that she blames OP for her brother's disapproval instead of her own behaviour. If she thinks that's not bad parenting, there's something seriously wrong with her. Also, how can she say it's unfair to her? Give me an effing break. Her choices and behaviour caused it all. Actions and choices have consequences, and now she feels them. Boo-hoo. It's so unfair to me. Cry me a river. What about the other people who were hurt by her choices and actions, and contrary to her, didn't have a choice? OP, brother, father. If you're truly unhappy in your relationship and feel like you would have done everything feel like you've done everything you can to fix it, there's nothing wrong with ending it. I feel that in that case, OP, brother and dad would also be hurt, but they wouldn't feel betrayed like they do now. Also, accepting her partner, that's completely up to the children. They have the right to choose if they want to do that, and if they do, that's under their terms and conditions. Another commenter says, not the a-hole. Not gonna lie, you clocked your mum good, and rightfully so. She needed to hear everything that you threw her way. Cheaters are selfish people. Cheating is already vile, but cheating when you have kids is even more selfish in my eyes, because parents don't realise that the most affected people out of their affair will actually be the kids. The fact that she said she did nothing, like she didn't wreck how her kids' family life that they've always known has been. She also expects you to meet and give a chance to that loser, which is her affair partner, the guy who willingly slept with a married woman without caring that he was breaking up a marriage and two innocent kids' households. I'll never understand where homewreckers get their audacity, but I guess it's since some of us have morals so we can understand. Focus on you, take the time you need to heal, and keep going to therapy. Take care of OP. That's one I'll never understand as well. Like, being an affair partner is bad enough, like you're going out of your way to hurt someone just for a bit of woohoo. But like, when there's kids involved and you know that your actions will directly hurt those children, that is beyond evil. Because how sick in the head do you have to be to go, oh, what, if I sleep with you, these kids are going to be traumatised for life? Well, let's get into bed. I mean, it's just so unbearably cruel to do. And I don't even know, guys. Let's move on to the next post. This one, it's been rated, obviously not the a-hole, and I wish all the best for OP. Our next post by the user Keylogger30 is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend I don't want to do couples therapy this early in the relationship? I, 30M, have been dating my girlfriend, 28F, for about 6 months. We've had some ups and downs, normal stuff I think, arguments, communication issues, different ways of dealing with stress. Last week, after a minor argument, she suggested that we try couples therapy, and I was kind of shocked. I told her I feel like it's way too early for that, and we're not married, we don't live together, and if we already need therapy now, then maybe we're just not compatible. She said that mindset is the problem and that people should be proactive, and therapy doesn't mean that something's broken, it's just a way to grow together. I told her I'm not interested in going to therapy with someone that I've only been dating for half a year. She got really upset and said that I clearly don't take the relationship seriously. Am I the a-hole for saying no to therapy at this stage? Okay, I think OP is maybe a soft a-hole in this situation. Because, I mean, the girlfriend's right, like, therapy doesn't necessarily mean that you're trying to fix something. It can be really helpful to help you guys learn how to best interact with each other, understand each other better, learn coping mechanisms, learn to understand each other's love languages. There's lots of different things that couple therapy can be good for. It's really helpful for people as well, especially, I think, in new relationships. Because when you learn, like, good techniques for the relationship early on, it can help the relationship last. But I can also understand why OP might not want to do it, because if his perception of it is that therapy's like to fix things and that, and also like you're not even living together yet, maybe it is technically too early for it. But I think he was being a bit over dramatic when he's like, oh, absolutely not at all. But I wouldn't say he's necessarily like an a-hole, he's just a bit of an a-hole in this situation. Maybe an understandable a-hole. Or what I should say is I think no one's an a-hole here, because low-key I can understand both points of view. The girlfriend thinks it's a good tool to help the relationship flourish, but OP thinks it's just not necessary at that point. And I don't think either of them are necessarily in the wrong in this situation. Maybe like the way he wasn't open to viewing like her side of it is a bit a-holey, but I mean, this was a very short post, so I don't feel like we've got a very like broad perspective of the situation, but I'm gonna say no a-holes here. The top commenter on this post says no one is an a-hole, you just aren't compatible. For some people, therapy is a last-ditch attempt to fix something broken. For other people, therapy is something they do regularly to help them work through life's normal issues. People with such drastically different views on something like this are usually unlikely to be a good fit long term. Best ending it now before anyone gets their time wasted or their feelings hurt. Okay, calm down. I think jumping to ending it is a tad bit dramatic. I think they could have another talk about this first before they consider that. But I mean, they are right, like, it depends how people view it. Maybe if they like talk about it again, they could work this out. But if they can't, then yeah, then end it. But what is it with Reddit and just jumping to break up all the time? Oh my god, we've got another one. Another commenter says, not the a-hole, just move on, it's way too early for this. Can the people of Reddit sit down for 2 minutes, read a post, A post that gives a very short, brief interaction from someone's life and not jump to the most extreme options for once. Maybe like I'm missing something, but why are so many people saying to just break up over this? It's really not that deep. Another more sane commenter says, not really the a-hole, but most people go to therapy way too late. Should be seen as some sort of maintenance, not a last resort, but that's just my personal opinion. Okay, I kind of agree with that commenter there. I feel like they're right. People do tend to leave therapy, like, way too late. Like, the marriage is already, like, dead and buried by the time that they go to couples therapy. And if more people sort of had that view that therapy's, like maintenance, like how they described it, is a nice way to put it. It can be good, like, to go in, talk through anything that may be happening at the time and, like, fix that up before things and resentment start festering. But I get it, therapy's expensive, not everyone's gonna think like that. Another commenter says, not the a-hole, therapy that early can feel like overkill if you're not ready to commit that deep yet. And okay, that is a very valid point, because 6 months in, like, you haven't even been together for a year yet. The relationship is only really just getting serious, I'd say. I think, like, a half a year is usually that, okay, like, we're going strong at the moment type of thing. But it isn't a serious relationship by that point, and putting a lot of time and effort into therapy for a relationship that hasn't even lasted a year can be a bit, like, unnecessary. So I do kind of understand that. And another commenter says, I think her wanting to go to therapy means that she really likes you and generally wants to spend the rest of her life with you. Time in love is relative. Some people take 10 years to get married, some people take 6 months, and others spend the rest of their lives happily in love. She didn't ask for a ring, she asked for help. She wants to make this work and hopes you do too. And that's a very different way of looking at this compared to some of the other comments. I think that's a nice way of looking at it, but she didn't ask for a ring. I mean, to be fair, the ring would probably be cheaper than the therapy. I mean, I do like that perspective, that it's like, okay, I'm quite serious about you despite this being a short amount of time, and I want to just ensure that we can healthily make this relationship work. But, of course, if he's not down with that, you can't expect that, because I mean, therapy is expensive, and to make that commitment and make that investment for a relationship that, once again, you may not actually, like, know if it's gonna work out. I mean, it's been 6 months, you may change your mind about this person. So, there's a lot of mixed opinions on this post, and I'm looking through the comments and there's so many different opinions. The majority does seem to be saying not the a-hole, but yeah, there's just so many, like, contrary opinions that it's a bit hard for me to make a solid opinion on this. I'm gonna stick with not the a-hole, but why don't you guys comment down below what you think? And you know, since you're down there, you might as well leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and then you can get more videos like this and we can read more posts like this. Moving on from that post, we've got one that's been posted by Definitely the Wise One, and this one's titled, Am I the a-hole for locking my sister's kid in the bathroom for an hour? Okay, I'm not going to jump to conclusions before I've even read this, but OP, you've got some explaining to do, get to it. So yeah, like the title says, I locked my 6-year-old nephew in the bathroom for an hour and my sister is furious and says I traumatised him. Last weekend, my 28M sister, 26F, asked me to watch her son Ryan for a few hours while she ran errands. I agreed, even though I'm not super comfortable around kids, but it was just for a few hours and I figured we'd survive. At first, everything was fine. We watched a movie, he had some juice and I thought we were in the clear, but after about 30 or 40 minutes he started getting more and more wild, like full on chaos mode. He ran around my living room knocking things over, dumped a bowl of popcorn on the floor, started throwing couch pillows. I told him to stop, tried offering him different things to do, but he ignored me. So I picked him up by the ankles and said, listen, and I'm kidding guys, that didn't happen. He then snuck into my bedroom and went through the drawers. He found a Sharpie and started drawing on the walls, and when I tried to take it away, he tried to kick me. I called my sister, but she didn't pick up. It escalated fast. He chased my old dog into a corner and yanked her tail. She snapped at him. Not hard enough to hurt, but hard enough to scare him. He screamed like she'd mauled him and then threw a mug at her. That was it for me. I couldn't handle it anymore and I didn't feel safe leaving him loose in the house. What, like he's a beast? So I put him in the bathroom. I told him to sit in there and take a break until he could calm down. Then I locked the door from the outside. I sat outside the door for a while, talking to him every few minutes. At first he screamed, then he started crying, then he got quiet. After a while I went to go clean up the mess in my bedroom and check on the dog. I figured he'd be fine since he wasn't in any danger, just contained. I guess that's where I might be the a-hole. Ended up leaving him in there for the closer to an hour. When my sister finally came to pick him up, he ran out crying, telling her that I'd locked him in the bathroom. She lost it, said I was abusive and that I'd traumatised him, and now she won't speak to me. She's telling everyone in the family that I locked up her child like I'd shoved him in a closet or something. A few relatives are on my side. Others say I went too far. I didn't scream at him, I didn't hit him, I didn't scare him. I just didn't know what else to do in that moment, and I wasn't about to let him break more of my stuff or hurt my dog. So, am I the a-hole? Okay, hopefully you had me in the first half. As I was like reading this in the beginning, I was thinking, OP, what is wrong with you? Oh my god. But to be fair, the more I read on, I was like, okay, this guy's got a point. This is valid. Okay, so I'm just going to read this comment because it literally perfectly sums up near enough everything I'm thinking about this situation. Agreed. Reluctantly, I'd say OP did the safest thing possible. Definitely not the a-hole, and while locking up someone's kid is bad, they did the responsible thing here. 1. Called the sis, she didn't pick up. 2. Locked the kid away after the feral child attacked an older dog. Dogs can snap and both the dog and child were a danger to each other. Putting the kid who lost control of reality in a bathroom seems safest, yeah. It wasn't a form of punishment, this was a choice of safety. 3. Spoke to the kid in the bathroom, kept him company. That's good. To be honest, I don't get people like sis. Why go around telling the whole family their latest drama? Can't sort things out in private like an adult? Why? If that's the case, if I were OP, I would send them a post, a long message to everyone who is in the family dictating exactly what happened and state. I didn't hit, I didn't yell. I only put him in the bathroom to de-escalate and keep him and my elder dog safe from each other. I'd also state the points I listed above and say I'm only sending this message out to set the record straight since the sister is airing out laundry. And it's fair to give everyone a heads up on the behavioural issues since they will obviously be babysitting next, and next time something dangerous could actually happen. People should be informed and well prepared since the sister was not honest about this. OP did nothing wrong here. They did what they thought was safe in a surprising situation before things got worse. If such behaviour isn't dealt with, it's a danger to the kid and everyone else around too. And honestly, that is perfectly summed up. You know, like, dogs are pretty aggressive when they're scared. It's not really their fault, you know, it's their nature. They lash out when they're frightened. And if the kid's going as far as hurting the dog, like OP said that they were yanking on the dog's tail, it's not unlikely that it would bite to defend itself. And unfortunately, like, if the dog bites that kid's really young, it's going to be a lot worse than, like, if it bit an adult. And then you would have been blamed for that, so... You know, it feels like one of those can't win situations, but I think OP did the best he could in this situation. Maybe locking the kid in the bathroom specifically wasn't the best, because, you know, bathrooms can have dangerous things in them, but I understand, like, he was there and he was listening. And I think he just saw that as the safest thing to do, to keep the dog and the kid away, to keep the kid out of harm's way, because if he continued to let the kid loose, he could have just Tasmanian deviled the whole room and ended up breaking something and hurting himself. So, OP, not the a-hole. You did what you thought was best. It was a bit questionable in the beginning, but I understand and I think you're completely valid. Okay guys, I'm going to read us one last post for this episode, and this was posted by Undercover Union 145, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for telling a woman at the gym that this isn't her personal studio? Oh my god, this is either going to be a case of absolutely, yeah, you suck, or no, you're completely in the right. There's going to be no in between here. This whole situation has caused me way more trouble than I expected, and honestly, I just want to know if I'm in the wrong here. I, 32M, have been going to my local gym for a few years now. I know most of the staff and I do my best to follow gym etiquette. I re-rack my weights, stay out of other people's way and try to be polite and respectful. Nothing fancy, just basic consideration. Recently a woman, let's call her Abba, 30s F, started coming around the same time as I usually go. I don't pay much attention to others unless they're right near the dumbbell area, but Abba made herself hard to ignore. How? By dancing. Not just a little head bob or a foot tap, full body dancing all over the gym floor. I get vibing to your music while working out, I do it too. But she doesn't keep it confined to her own space. She'll dance through open areas, weave between benches, and move unpredictably within a 10-20 square foot radius, often not even looking where she's going. At first I only saw her occasionally, but lately she's been going there every single time I go. Unfortunately, my schedule doesn't give me much flexibility to switch gym times. Then the other day, I finally had an interaction with her. I was using some dumbbells, and as I went to re-rack them, Abba suddenly danced right in front of me and I had to stop short or I would have collided with her. I said, "Hey," loudly to get her attention. She got startled, pulled out one earbud and said, "Oh, sorry about that." But I was already frustrated, so I replied, maybe a bit harshly, "This is a gym, not your personal dance studio." She mumbled something as she walked away, but I didn't catch it because I was racking my weights. A few minutes later, a large staff member approached me and said Abba had reported me for harassment. I was peeved, so I tried to explain what happened. He said they'd checked the cameras and asked me to grab my stuff and come to the front in the meantime. When I got there, Abba was talking to another staff member and seemed really upset. They pulled up the footage, and when we watched it together, the video clearly showed her dancing erratically, jumping in front of me as I was carrying the weights, and I had to stop to get her attention. Nothing aggressive like what she claimed. She said I got in her face and was disrespecting her workout because it wasn't traditional. Once the truth came out, she got flustered, said she wasn't coming back, cancelled her membership on the spot. The staff seemed to sympathise with me, and I got the impression they were also kind of relieved, honestly. Later that day, I told my wife about what happened. To my surprise, she said that I overreacted and I didn't need to say anything after Abba apologised, and that I came off as confrontational. But from my perspective, I kept my cool until she almost caused an accident. I didn't scream at her, I didn't insult her. I just told her, maybe a bit bluntly, to be more aware, and now I don't have to worry about her unpredictable dancing in a cramped gym space. So, am I the a-hole? Edit, for those disrespecting my wife, she wasn't there and didn't experience it. She doesn't like confrontation with strangers, and I don't mind if I need to, so relax. Just because y'all don't get any doesn't mean you can be rude to women. Funny saying this to Reddit. Alright, so before I say anything, I feel the need to say, yeah, dance is a completely valid form of a workout. It's tiring, it burns calories, it's active, and yeah, it's good for you. But I don't think doing it all around the gym when people are working out is a good thing to do. Maybe if there's like an area in the gym where you can do it in that little space, that would be fine. But going all around the gym, around the benches, and then you're not even watching where you're going, and like OP said, she literally nearly like bumped into him and caused an accident. That's disrespectful. I've never been to a gym in my life, but I'd assume that's what they'd call poor gym etiquette. A commenter says, if she'd bumped into you and you dropped the weight on your foot and broke it, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. This woman was being reckless in a public place. If you want to dance, go to an open studio that most public gyms have. Doing it in the free weights section is dangerous. And yeah, that's absolutely spot on. Like, if she collided with OP and he dropped that weight on his foot, yeah, it would have broken it. And then, I mean, she could have been sued for it. I don't know if this is in America anyway, she definitely could have been sued for it. And she's not watching where she's going, she's being fairly quite stupid, to be honest. And like I say, I've never been in a gym, so I don't know if they have open spaces where she could be doing the dancing. But this woman's giving me main character energy, like she sort of just thinks that she's, you know, Miss Girl of the gym, and she's just, it feels like she's after attention to some degree acting like that. I think also, like, the way she reacted as well when they were like, okay, look, this guy's not in the wrong, and she's like, oh, I'm not coming back here ever again, cancelling my membership. It's just giving, like, entitled to some degree, like she feels like she owns that space and should get what she wants. And to go, like, to the staff and claim that he's harassing her and being aggressive towards her, I mean, he was definitely a bit rude, and he admits it himself, but to go complain about such a small interaction is so bizarre to me. And another commenter says, not the a-hole, this whole thing sounds like one of those situations where someone turns their main character energy all the way up and forgets that anyone else exists. You literally almost ran into her while carrying weight. Like, that's not a little oopsie, that's dangerous. Her calling that harassment is wild. People are so allergic to being told that they're wrong now. You didn't cuss her out or scream at her or chase her around the gym. You just hit her with the verbal equivalent of a rolled up newspaper, and it clearly worked because she rage quit the gym, Lamel. Your wife probably just didn't want to hear about gym drama, but nah, you were not out of line. She can go dance in her kitchen like the rest of us. So this post was like overwhelmingly rated not the a-hole. Everyone seems to side with OP, and I can see why, because the other person was clearly in the wrong. Like, he was a bit snappy, maybe a tad bit rude, but at the end of the day I think most of us would be if someone nearly caused us to get into an accident because they were behaving, well, you know, like that. So, you know, OP, not the a-hole. Well guys, I'm just going to wrap it up there. I think this has actually been like a longer video than I usually do, but to be fair, these Am I the A-hole stories do kind of drag out, and they give me a lot to say. I feel like I can just yap for ages with these stories, that's why I like doing these. But if you liked watching this, maybe you could consider leaving a like, comment, maybe even subscribe to this channel. I mean, I say it every time, I'm a growing channel, so every bit of support, every bit of interaction, it's really helpful and I really appreciate it. And if you like this video, you can check out this video here, it should appear in the corner. This was also an Am I the A-hole video if you like that type of thing. Or you can subscribe to my channel, have a look on there for other videos I've done from other subreddits. Anyway, thank you so much guys, until next time, bye bye.